Have you heard of the last frontier? Well, Palawan, an island in the Philippines, is considered this for its biodiversity and its global importance. Documenting Palawan's biodiversity is key in supporting the work of local and Indigenous communities who protect and rely on this biodiversity.
As we just saw, there are many faces of the last frontier, including local communities, conservation experts, student researchers, and important biodiversity. I'm Charlotte Toomey.
And I'm Lydia Slater.
For our research project, we went on camera trap expeditions to collect data on mammalian diversity in southern Palawan, partnered with the Center for Sustainability PH and students from Palawan State University.
Across all continents, even here in North America, biodiversity is being threatened at unprecedented rates. Due to a myriad of reasons, including resource exploitation, mining, and a lack of supportive policy. This is particularly impactful in the Philippines because of their incredible biodiversity. For example, here is an image of a mining project and its destruction.
The Philippines contains more endemic species per unit area than any other country in the world. The term endemic means that species are native to the Philippines and cannot be found anywhere else in the world. Once they're found in the Philippines, they will be gone for good. Not only is protecting biodiversity important due to the inherent value of wildlife, but biodiversity is needed for sustaining ecosystem services such as climate regulation and clean water, services which we rely on every day. Local Indigenous communities also rely directly on biodiversity to sustain their livelihoods.
Supporting community-led conservation efforts is particularly important in the Philippines that has 10 to 20% of their population as Indigenous peoples. The Center for Sustainability is a female-led organization that works to pioneer local biodiversity assessments and lobbies the Philippine government for the establishment of conservation areas on behalf of Indigenous and local communities.
This summer, our team collaborated with the Center for Sustainability to support their conservation work in Sultan Peak Critical Habitat, a region which is home to several Indigenous communities. The main goal of our project is to support local Indigenous efforts to protect this land from invasive mining diseases.
So our project had 3 key objectives. First, we collected raw biodiversity data from 12 camera traps, which we installed during our first 5-day backpacking field expedition. Second, we used Wildlife Insights, which is a camera trapping software tool, and GIS to identify, process, and analyze our data. Finally, we took lessons learned to streamline the process of camera trapping studies so that smaller conservation organizations like the Center for Sustainability can expedite and increase the output of future conservation projects and impact policy.
These images provide a visual representation of our methodology. So we navigated the landscape with the leadership of the local guides, crossing many rivers and sometimes hiking through storms. We identified ideal locations for camera trap placement based on wildlife indicators, and then we plugged the collected data into Wildlife Insights.
So our camera traps recorded many endemic species, including the Philippine pangolin and the Palawan leopard cat, and other important species like the Asian palm civet. But for the most part, we saw a lot of images of monkeys.
And then we transformed our process images into graphs and maps, which display the significance of our data. So this graph provides an overview of the abundance for each reported species. Rodents, monkeys, and squirrels are the most abundant groups, and the least abundant groups were the Philippine porcupine, Asian small-clawed otter, and the leopard cat. These statistics provide valuable information by contributing to existing population data and preserving the presence of threatened species in the studies.
Here's a simple map of our camera trap locations within the study site and a few important species and their IUCN status, their conservation status. In order to support Center for Sustainability's work and local and Indigenous communities, we are in the process of making individual species extent maps to communicate our results.
This graph shows the locations in our study site where the most number of different species were reported. Sites 3, 7, and 9 are the sites with the highest amount of biodiversity, which will be explored further along in our research process to see how this might be linked to environmental factors like elevation, vegetation density, and proximity to
Overall, our research clearly shows a high level of biodiversity in the forests of Sultan Peak, including many endemic species. The data we collected and the deliverables that we are still working on to display our findings will provide evidence that the Center for Sustainability can use to lobby for the establishment of conservation areas. Charlotte and I feel incredibly lucky to have had the experience to work and learn from local and Indigenous communities and our Center for Sustainability conservation leaders. We saw firsthand how camera trapping projects and collaborations with communities are critical for supporting local and global conservation efforts.
We would like to thank our ordinary faculty mentors, Sapana, Lohani, and John Swaddle. We would also like to thank Erica, of course, for partnering up with our work, and our conservation mentors, Ray Esther Gabo and Abril Lambao, and then also, of course, our fellow student researchers, Jessica Ginorello and Iso Roddy.
And now we have a message from Flowen from the Student Researcher Study.
Magandang araw, mabuhay! I am Jessica Jean Caranya Aurelio, and I am Ansel Lohani, and we are currently studying Bachelor of Science in Environmental Science at Palawan State University. Last summer, we did an internship at Center for Sustainability PH. It was an honestly life-changing experience. The whole expedition was an unforgettable experience. Beyond the reports and data, we connected with the real people and real issues. Getting to talk with the local community really opened our eyes and shifted our perspective and made us realize that conservation isn't just an abstract concept. It's a responsibility we offer those who will come after us. Paalam! Ingat!
Hi, I'm Lay, conservation specialist at the Center for Sustainability PH, a women-led youth environmental nonprofit working towards conservation of the Philippines' last remaining forest. I have the privilege of coordinating the camera trapping research conducted here at Sultan Peak with the William and Mary team together with Palawan State University students. The research is not yet done. Actually, the local interns are continuing the study and have had several trips back already to retrieve SD cards and check the cameras. But even at this stage, the research is already showing the presence of mammals, including both threatened and endemic species, which is essential for strengthening the case for protecting the area. These findings help justify boundary, identify key habitat areas, and provide concrete science-based evidence that supports our broader conservation planning and advocacy. Actually, today, the Center for Sustainability PH's team just finished presenting the results of our biodiversity assessment to the Tagbanwa community, and having this kind of evidence makes the discussion even more meaningful. It allows us to continue conversations with indigenous peoples and local governments in a way that's grounded in science, helping us advocate more effectively for Sultan Peak as a critical habitat. It's especially inspiring that the research team is made up of young women, showing how the next generation is stepping up for conservation. Their dedication reminds us why involving and supporting young people in protecting our forests and wildlife is so important and gives us hope that together we can secure a future for Sultan Peak and its incredible biodiversity. Thank you, and mabuhay from the Philippines.